the last score trade shows, we haven't even talked about pricing. We're purely talking about the impact that's translating to our partners. And so the cruise industry can really take advantage of this because you can help drive the incremental revenue with your clients and guests. At the end of the day, sustainability is becoming mandatory. It's not optional. And consumers are voting with their dollar. And so if you're able to translate that down to the customer experience and the customer level, when they're looking at what type of vendor that they want to choose, they want to have an impact. They don't want to overexploit the different resources and be able to go on these trips and say, am I having a negative impact?
And when you talk about destinations, I've heard a lot of, panels this week talk about what is the perception from the destination for a lot of these cruise ships. It's two sides of the coin. They're bringing economic value, but at the same time, are they viewing you in a way that is positive? So I'd love to ask all of you, what is your take on, these kind of partnerships and how that drives that positive perception?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. The shipping industry is big. There are 60, 70,000 ships in the world and cruises, about 300 of them. But your industry carries the sins of the rest of the sector because you have that B2C visibility that most of the wider shipping industry doesn't have. So when you're looking at issues like over-tourism, when you're looking at things like missile strike of whales, when you're looking at the pollution that ships can cause, you guys are kind of carrying the can for everything. So taking opportunities to build positive stories and highlight positive tales is something that's really, really important for the sector. The flip side of that is that means that the accountability for the sector is much higher. And so understanding that stakeholder map, we talked about crew and guests, but there's local government, there's regulatory bodies, there are ports, there are suppliers. Having a real good picture of what your sustainability story looks like for all of those people is really important as well. And actually, where the industry makes up, parts of the world where the industry makes up a larger than normal percentage of shipping traffic, thinking about places like Alaska, Antarctica, some of these destinations where cruises really fit, the industry has to take responsibility to do the right things in those areas, because otherwise you can't complain about the fact that you get blamed for the wider shipping industry's ills as well. And so it's not easy, but I think actually looking at sustainability as a holistic story with all of the different stakeholders in mind, not just your customers who are going to spend more money and who are going to be more interested in your brand, you are more sustainable. That's what all research has shown everyone. That if you can actually look at all of those other stakeholders, the value you can build across that map is huge. And it doesn't necessarily have to then just reflect a bottom line. It's going beyond compliance and actually going on to making a positive impact.
Yeah, I think Alex put it quite well as well. You said that I think sustainability could be a motivation, and I definitely think that is true. You can look at it on an individual basis, your company, your cruise company, and how you can use that to your benefit. I mean, the reality is now, in terms of top prospects, cruise companies, I think it's over 70% now are looking for those more sustainable operators and alternatives. So the demand is definitely there. But I think there's also another aspect, which is the sort of all ships rise with the tide. And actually, there is now reputational opportunity for the whole industry on the whole. I'm going to be honest, it probably doesn't put a dirty reputation. And I think the reality is there is so much opportunity for innovation, for decarbonization, to actually ocean philanthropy. Yeah, my dream is to actually see the potential of this industry to go from really, reducing the harm that we're creating through every voyage and every trip down towards zero. Actually, how we would go a step beyond that, say looking to 2040, to every trip raising a positive impact on the environment. You're not becoming a key part of the guest experience to offer it. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity, and yeah, for the industry on the whole.
Sure, and just real quick on that note, we really like to talk about sustainability as your competitive advantage. And we were just out in the Keys yesterday with a partner. They were out at cleanup, and we were, asking them questions about our partnership and really what sustainability has been able to do for them. So they are a brand that sells a vitamin and supplement, and they just explained that they have been trying to track down certain retailers and to get to new doors and expand and grow their business for years. And just through the Flourishing Partnership in the last 3 months, there's been 3 huge retailers that they've been able to land by switching the conversation. They were explaining that, at a conference, at a trade show, they typically talk about pricing and they talk about distribution. And they're like, the last 4 trade shows, we haven't even talked about pricing. We're purely talking about the impact that's translating to our partners. And so the cruise industry can really take advantage of this because you can help drive the incremental revenue with your clients and guests. At the end of the day, sustainability is becoming mandatory. It's not optional. And consumers are voting with their dollar. And so if you're able to translate that down to the customer experience and the customer level, when they're looking at what type of vendor that they want to choose, they want to have an impact. They don't want to overexploit the different resources and be able to go on these trips and say, am I having a negative impact? They want to understand that, hey, we are enjoying is having a good time while making a positive impact on the planet. And so that's why you're seeing such a rise in sustainable tourism. And it's something that you can leverage to really grow your business and to continue to grow your impact. And you really can do well by doing good.